Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
Hi, Brian. I'm Steve here with MMA Mania. Steve, are you there?
Yes, I am. Brian, it's a pleasure to talk to you today. How are you doing?
Doing well, yourself?
Oh, I'm absolutely fabulous. It's my first chance to talk to the professional predator. And I got to know, how did you get that nickname in the first place?
You know, it's funny. It's kind of a nickname I've kind of gone back and forth at, but it kind of came along just when I was kind of redoing some things in my training camps and just the way I was kind of trying to handle myself. It was kind of a moniker just in towards them. I mean, I feel I'm a pretty professional person in general, with more of a moniker to the way in which I carry myself and I handle my training and just business and stuff personally.
It's just like an addition on to the word predator. Then it's like you're a predator in the cage, but you're a professional in your business.
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of became a moniker as I was going into one of a fight camp, and I was looking to kind of rebrand myself and, you know, get my name and get my story out there a little bit more. So that's kind of how it got birthed originally.
Now, I have to say, from going to a lot of Bellator events over the years, that you always end up in the highlight reel that they show the crowd between fights, especially that Vitor Viana flying knee that you knocked him out with. So how does it feel to be the highlight reel king of Bellator?
You know, it's fun when you're on the good side of it, that's for sure. You know, it's nice. It's one of those memories where, you know, it went viral and it was all over the place. And, you know, at the time and looking back now, I mean, that was 4 years ago, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, definitely a good moment, kind of a highlight, one of the early highlights of my career and something that put me on the map. You know, it was the first time that I hit one on the big stage or on the big show, but I've got, you know, from the regional circuit as well, 2 in Bellator and 2 in the regional circuit. I've got 4 flying EKOs. It's just, that one happened to be the biggest with the most eyes on it at the time.
That's true, but you're right. You've got 2 in Bellator, too. You also have the one you hit Adrian Miles with, so it's almost a trademark, but I'm sure you want to be known for more than just a flying knee.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, I think I'm a pretty well-rounded fighter. I think I you know, showed some better performances over the year. We'll continue to do so. But definitely, yeah, I mean, it's one of those signature moves. I feel like if that lands, I can put anybody out with it.
You showed a great deal of improvement in your fight at Bellator 147 with Virgil Zwicker. He's a tough guy. He's hard to finish, but you got that arm triangle and you choked him out. So talk a little about that performance.
Yeah, you know, I felt good, you know, going into it. I really thought, you know, I ended up knocking him out late in the rounds. Just start taking some energy out of him, and then my hand would start to land later, but the opportunity came with a submission. I was fortunate to take it. I worked really hard on my jiu-jitsu with my coach, J.J. Pugsley, who's a black belt under Dean Lister. You know, works on my grappling each and every day, and I feel like I'm, you know, I don't consider myself a world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner by any means. Like, I'm not going to look out to go win the PAMs in the absolute division or compete in Abu Dhabi anytime soon, but I think I'm a problem for most people, for a lot of people in my division in MMA.
Speaking of that division, you were at one point in a middleweight tournament, but this fight with Virgil Zwicker, that was a light heavyweight fight. So can we say 205 is your permanent home now?
Yeah, I've been working, you know, really hard on my strength and conditioning with Eric Telly and Lauren Landau at Landau Performance in the Denver area to change, you know, to change my body composition around and get a little bit bigger to fill out the weight class. And, you know, it's one of those things where just to cut to 185, this is becoming too much and it's starting to have diminishing returns on my performance. So just decided to make the adjustment and, you know, kind of listen to my body, see where it was going, and adjust my strength and conditioning, and it's been paying off so far.
You talked about diminishing returns, and I did want to ask you if maybe the weight cut to middleweight affected your performance for a few years there in Bellator, because it's been hard. You know, you've got a great performance style, and fans love to see you fight, so you always get called back, but back-to-back wins weren't coming easy for a while.
No, absolutely. I think it was just, you know, some of that. And the other thing is, you know, I wasn't having this chance to develop, you know, much as a fighter in the early days because of the tournaments. We had 2 fights versus top opponents and, you know, a matter of, you know, 30 days apart, you know, so it's kind of hard to kind of change something. I got in Bellator, I was only, you know, I was 27, I had 7 wins and 2 losses, I was riding a 6-fight win streak. And I got thrown right into the tournaments, you know. Nowadays, if that were to happen, I'd be brought on a little bit quicker. I'd have some, you know, have some undercard bouts and be fighting other prospects as well and kind of work my way along. But I was kind of going into the thick end of the division. So yeah, I mean, you know, everything happens for a reason. It wouldn't really change the way it happened. You know, there got to be some big opportunities and some big wins and some cash in our pocket at the time. But I think that had a lot to do with some of my up and down success.
As somebody that's been around then from both the Bjorn Rebney era to the Scott Coker era, it sounds to me like you're kind of glad that Coker came in and tournaments have gone away.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of having a full training camp and working that way towards a title and a championship. I can't complain about the old way. Like I said, it got me an opportunity. That's nothing to complain about. But yeah, I enjoy our new format.
You're going against what could be called the hometown hero. Alessio Sakara is going to be the conquering hero coming into that fight. So do you feel any additional pressure going up against him in his home country and basically his hometown?
Not especially. But I was fortunate to play football in college at Walsh University, and I always relish the home games. Relish the away games more than the home games. I like going in other people's backyards and essentially ruining their day. We were in California last fight when I fought Zwicker, and there's definitely people that were in his corner and there for him. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with adversity. I kind of have a me against the world. I live in Denver, Colorado, but I'm from Ohio. I kind of have an Ohio against the world mentality wherever I go and do things. So, I'm fine with it.
What did you think of the tournament this year, March Madness? Did you feel like all your brackets got busted very early on?
You know what? I used to be big in brackets and fantasy football. I honestly don't have time for either more. I'm just so engulfed with my training and just life in general that I enjoy the sport. I follow college football pretty religiously. That's what I'm more into, but I haven't paid attention at all. So a lot of people complain about their brackets being busted. I got sent a couple of math to fill them out, but just didn't have the time and energy to do so.
Yeah, well, I understand. It's hard for me to keep up with it when I'm doing fights and interviews and covering the sport, so I'm on the other side of that coin. I'm not training for it, but it's definitely hard to find the time to watch everything else when there's so much going on in MMA.
Right, absolutely.
Because there's going to be 2 Bellator shows 6 days apart, the one you're on with Alessio Sakara, and then Bellator 153 6 days later, so nonstop schedule, but I guess that leads me to ask you, how many fights are you looking to have in 2016? How busy do you want your schedule to be?
I gotta stay busy. I mean, the only time I'm getting paid, I hold another job, like as I mentioned, but, the only time I'm getting paid is when I'm fighting and busy. I haven't been very active the last couple of years, just because of some things out of my control. So ideally, I would like to fight, get this victory in April, and then I'd like to fight in July, you know what I mean? And then, I'd love a fight in early October during either beginning of fall or at the end of fall or beginning of winter. But it would be nice to get 3 to 4 in. But if there's more, I'm here to take them.
Would you say that this is the beginning, since you've talked about sculpting your body, getting a new shape, getting a new physique, being more comfortable with not having to cut the big weight? Is this the beginning of a new run?
I mean, you got to shoot for the stars. You know what I mean? There's no point in, if you're not competing to be world champ, I don't really know what you're competing for at the professional level. It's different than like this guy's an amateur fighter and goes somewhere. But yeah, I mean, there's big fights right now at 205 out there right now. Virgil Swicker, Linton Vassell and Emmanuel Newton just had a big 205 fight. And, Vassell's in line for another title shot. I think, the fight between Sakara and I is going to be pivotal. And then you got King Mo and Phil Davis May 14th as well. So those are all guys that are potentially knocking on the door. So my plan is just to, we don't have an official Bellator ranking, but just to kind of work my way up the ladder and, get that shot and get that opportunity. I mean, honestly, with the championship, with the title, that brings, obviously some money and some fame and whatnot, but I'm just looking to, I got into this, you know what I mean, because I love competing. It's kind of my second chance to be a professional athlete. I was not nearly a good enough college football player to make the NFL level, but, it's all being financially compensated. There's a lot of other things that I don't get to participate with in life because of my choice to be a mixed martial arts fighter, which is fine. It's my choice, but financial compensation needs to go along with that. So I got to keep working to do so things kind of even out.
Well, you mentioned some of the names in the light heavyweight division, and one name that got brought up last night when the news that MMA was legalized in New York was Liam McGeary, the current champion, and they're talking about him maybe having a fight in New York at the Barclays Center. Now, if you go on a run and that fight's late in the year, is that a guy you want to test yourself against?
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going for the, like I said, what are you really trying for? Liam's a cool dude. I met him before. He's sponsored by Future Legend, which I've worked with before as well. You know what I mean? I think coming off the Sakara win, I don't think they're going to give me a title shot. I think Mo and Phil Davis are both ahead of me in that way, but certainly I can turn down a championship opportunity. But I think I got some more work ahead of me before they give me that opportunity.
Well, since you mentioned Mo and Davis twice now, would you be wanting to take maybe the person who comes up short in that fight if you win the fight with Sakara?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not here for the pass to the top. So whether it's him, like I said, William Vasal's coming off a win. So I mean, I think that's just how they're going to matchmake it up.
Now,
Instead of Vasal and not Sakara.
right. What do you think are Alessio Sakara's biggest strengths as a fighter when you match up and look at how you're going to fight the fight?
You know, he's got really good hand speed. He's a traditional, professionally trained boxer. So most boxers are going to throw their strikes a little crisper, a little cleaner than most traditional MMA athletes. So that's his biggest thing is his boxing, and his hand speed is better than most.
What about the fact that he's best known for his run in UFC, and this is his Bellator debut? As mentioned, hometown fight for him, but also his first fight under the Bellator banner.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have his country to go back. It's a big opportunity for him. It's a lot of weight, a lot of pressure, I believe, on his shoulders. But, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're where we're at, you know what I mean? Still going to lock those doors. It's two people going at it. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to have some energy, behind your hometown crowd. Like as I mentioned earlier, I'm fine with not being at home. I use that energy, the negative energy being thrown my way, and turn it into a positive when I go in there versus somebody in their own backyard.
That's true. It's not bothering you at all to go take an away fight, as you said. But this one's a little more away than most. You're going all the way to Italy. So, what's the travel going to be like for you?
Originally Bellator had us arriving Tuesday, April 10th, and I wasn't leaving until Monday. I pushed my flight up a day. So I'm leaving Sunday, April 10th, and arriving. I'm going into Milan because that's where I'm going to be flying in and out of with the fight in tour in Italy. I'll get in there sometime on Monday, the 11th, and then I'm probably just going to take the train or get a car service over there to Torino or to Reno for the site, for the fight. So I'll give myself there extra early to kind of adjust it and everything else. But I've flown internationally before. I've never flown internationally, but I've traveled internationally a few times. So, I think I got to figure it out. The whole time gap really doesn't mess with me too much. You just have to plan your stuff accordingly.
Right. So jet lag is not going to be a factor then. You'll be well prepared, well in ahead of time to get all set up and be ready to go.
I mean, I think you kind of adjust after 2 to 3 days. I think maybe a little fatigued in the first 2 to 3 days, but, so I'm going to get there Monday with the fight being on Saturday. So by, Wednesday, Thursday, I should be 100% adjusted.
Brian, I want to thank you for the time today. I really appreciate the opportunity to interview you, and I always like to say that fighters can plug anything they want or throw out social media plugs, so go ahead. Anything you want to get out at this time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to thank my sponsors for this fight. My first time working at Hayabusa. I'm really excited to work with them. I've been a fan of their gear for a while, so it's nice to be sponsored by them as well. Vaporfy. I think that would be my lead sponsor with my walkout shirt, and provide a healthy alternative for people who are trying to quit smoking and whatnot. Along as egg whites, as well as Spider Tech and ECO tape. Spider Tech's been sponsoring me for a while. They allowed me to help me recover between his strength and conditioning workouts tremendously, and get back in the weight room, get back on the mat that much quicker, which has been super beneficial. As I've made the adjustment to 205, I've had a little bit more wear and tear on me because of my training regimens, and Spider Tech's really helped me rest and recover. Last but not least, Crow's Auto Body, as well, one of my original first ever sponsors in Canton, Ohio. If you guys didn't get their car, make sure you're going to see on Dude Ed, Canton, Ohio, Crow's Auto Body.
All right. And if I can throw out one for you too, at B-Raj the Predator on Twitter.
Yep. B-Raj the Predator on Twitter and Instagram. Forgot to mention that.
That's okay. I've been following it for a while, so I figured I'd throw that one in there at the end. But Brian, again, thank you for the time. I really appreciate it today. And I hope you have a great performance against Alessio Sakara in Italy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. And thank you, Dan, as well.